Duly advertised meeting of the Joliet Zoning Board of Appeals. In our capacity, we hear petitions for relief from the strict provisions of our city ordinance. In matters of this type, the decision of the board is final in respect that it does not go to the mayor or city council for further action. However, if you disagree with our decision, you have recourse in the court of record. We also hear petitions of variations of land use. In matters of this type, we acted as an advisory committee to the mayor and city council, making a recommendation either for or against it. The final decision of land use is made by the mayor and city council. Please call the roll.
Mr. Bias?
Here.
Mr. Alessio?
Here.
Mr. Noctree?
Here.
Mr. Riggs?
Here.
Ms. Rohr? Mr. Hennessy?
First order of business would be to approve the minutes from the May 16th meeting.
I so move. Second. All in favor?
Mr. Alessio?
Aye.
Mr. Noctree?
Aye.
Mr. Bias?
Aye.
Mr. Riggs?
Aye.
Next would be citizens to be heard on agenda items. Anybody that would like to speak on an agenda item can do so now for 4 minutes, but please be aware we will let you speak when the case is called. But if anybody would like to speak at this time, they could do so. Seeing none, we could move on to old business public hearing. We have none. Under new business public hearing, the first case petition is 2024-21. The applicant owner is Mark Dolby. The location is 3517 September Drive. Request is a variation. Under purpose, the petitioner is requesting a variation of required side yard setback from 8 feet to 6 feet to allow construction of a garage addition at 3517 September Drive. The Zoning Board of Appeals makes the final decision on this request. Under site-specific information, the subject property is 8,625 square feet in size and is zoned R2 single-family residential. The property is within the Wexford West subdivision and contains a circa 1999 single-family house. Surrounding zoning, land use, and character of the property in question is adjacent to other single-family residential properties in the Wexford West subdivision that have R2 zoning to the north, south, east, and west. Under applicable regulations, 47-6.4 yard and lot requirements. Under discussion, the requested side yard setback variation will allow the petitioner to construct a one-story 10.25 feet by 36.41 feet garage addition along the west side of the house. And you could see the attached site plan. Paved driveway addition will angle into the new one-bay garage door. Site plans, floor plans, and elevations are included in this staff report packet. The addition will blend into the existing house. The variation on the setback request should not create a detrimental effect to the neighboring area. There are examples of similar one-story garage additions in this subdivision. The homeowner obtained approval from the Wexford Homeowners Association for this proposed addition. Under conditions, if the Zoning Board of Appeals desires to approve the variation, following conditions would be included. 1, that the addition be constructed to blend into the house as per the attached plans, and that concludes our staff report.
Is the petitioner present?
Before we fully get started here, because we only have 4 members, those that are requesting variations, it will require all 4 members to vote to approve your petition for it to receive approval. So, if you feel like that's an unfair advantage for your petition, you could request this to be tabled and the board could vote on that. These are just for variations that are approved here. If you have special use or a variation of use, those go on to city council, and those would be a moral majority of the board to move those on. So with that, the petitioner could come up to the podium.
Ms. Leanne, do you swear your statement to be true?
Yes, I do.
Please state your name and address for the board.
Mark Dolby, 3517 September Drive, Joliet, 60431.
Do you have any questions for the board?
No?
No. Does anyone speak in favor of this petition? Does anyone disapprove? Is there any questions for the board? If not, we can go to the next step and make a motion.
I guess so.
I'd
I
like
move
to
we
make a-
approve.
Second.
Call the roll.
Mr. Noctre,
Aye.
Mr. Bias,
Aye.
Mr. Alessio,
Aye.
Mr. Riggs.
Aye. You're done.
Thank you, Board. Appreciate it.
That case was approved. Next would be petition number 2024-22. The applicant owner is Gloria Rodriguez. Location is 626 Williamson Avenue. Request is a variation. Under purpose, the applicant is requesting the following variation to allow a covered porch on the front of their residence at 626 Williamson Avenue. The request is variation to reduce the required front yard setback from 30 feet to 9.7 feet. The Zoning Board of Appeals makes the final decision on this variation request. Under site-specific information, the subject site is 6,715 square feet and contains a 1.5-story residence built around 1911. Property is zoned R2 single-family residential. The owners recently began construction to replace the existing enclosed porch with an open covered porch. And you could see figures 1 and 2. The previous porch was 6 feet deep and had a non-conforming setback of 12.2 feet from the front property line. New porch is 8.5 feet deep and setback 9.7 feet from the front property line. Section 47-17.223, non-conforming structures of the zoning ordinance, allows pre-existing nonconformities to remain as long as the structures are not enlarged or altered in a way that increases their nonconformity. Because of the structure will now be closer to the front property line than before, the owners must request a variation to construct a new porch. The owners submitted their building permit in February 2024, and after staff informed them of the variation requirement, have now submitted their variation petition. Under surrounding zoning, land use, and character, the property is located in a residential neighborhood near the southwest corner of Williamson Avenue and Henderson Avenue. Other homes in the area have similar front porches with non-conforming setbacks. Property is surrounded by residents with R2 zoning. Applicable regulations are section 47-64, R2 district yard and lot requirements, and 47-19.8, finding of facts supporting a variation, and you could refer to the attachment. Under discussion, the approval of the requested variation will allow an enclosed front porch to be converted to an open covered porch that is 2.5 feet closer to the front property line than the previous porch. The owners must request a variation to increase the existing nonconformity, as the front yard setback will be reduced from 12.2 feet to 9.7 feet. Required front yard setback for a house in the R2 district is 30 feet. The proposed porch is not out of character with other homes in the neighborhood, most of which were also built prior to the adoption of the zoning ordinance. Several other homes on the block have enclosed or roof porches with similar non-conforming front yard setbacks, and you could see figure 4 for that. According to the petitioner, the new porch will have a single set of front steps like the previous porch, not as pictured in the attached drawings. The owner recently updated the siding and windows of their home so that the front porch wall is consistent with the rest of the house. Plat of survey, drawings, and current photos are attached. Under conditions, we have none, and that concludes our staff report.
Is petitioner present? Do we have anyone here on this petition?
Is anybody here representing 626 Williamson Avenue? Maybe we can
Pass it and go to the next
yeah,
one?
kick that one to the end and see if they come later.
Do we need a motion on that, or?
I don't think to
Okay.
just move it to the back.
Okay.
If they're not here when it's comes to the end, then we can make
Bring
a
it up to
decision at
make
that point.
All right. That sounds good.
Okay, the next petition, 2024-23.
The applicant owner is Robert Diedrich, is petitioner here for 610 Western Avenue. request is a series of variations. The purpose is the applicant is requesting the following variations to allow construction of a new two-story detached garage at 610 Western Avenue. Variation is to increase the maximum roof height for a detached garage from 20 feet to 26 feet 8 inches. And also variation to allow a two-story detached garage with a workout room and full bathroom as accessory uses. Zoning Board of Appeals makes the final decision on these variation requests. Under site-specific information, subject property is 12,950 square feet, contains a two-story colonial revival style residence. Property is zoned R2, single-family residential, and is located within the Upper Bluff Local Historic District. The owners recently demolished a 373 square foot detached garage that was located at the southwest corner of their property with access off the rear alley. The owners are now proposing to build a new detached garage sited at the southeast corner of the property. Proposed garage would be 2 stories with a footprint of approximately 1,230 square feet. The first floor would contain parking for 4 vehicles. The second floor would contain a full bathroom and an open space that would function as a workout room and storage area. The height to the roof ridge would be 26 feet 8 inches, which exceeds the maximum height of 20 feet for a detached garage. Proposed garage meets the required side yard setback of 3 feet and the required 10-foot setback off the alley. Surrounding zoning, land use, and character, the property is located in the Cathedral area neighborhood on the south side of Western Avenue east of Wilcox Street. Is within the Upper Bluff Local Historic District. The property is surrounded by residences with R2 zoning. Other homes on the block have a 1.5 and 2-story detached garages with alley access. Under applicable regulations, section 47-63, R2 district permitted accessory uses, 4717.5, garages and carports, and 47-19.8, finding of fact supporting a variation, and you could refer to the attachment. Under discussion, the approval of the requested variations would allow a 2-story garage with a workout room and full bathroom on the second floor to be constructed as an accessory use to an existing single-family residence. Zoning ordinance states that detached garages to be 1 story in height with a maximum height of 20 feet to the top of the roof ridge unless otherwise approved by a variance. Therefore, the owners are requesting a variance to increase the overall height to build a second story that contains accessory uses. The owners will not use the garage as a separate living unit. As part of this variance request, the property owners have prepared a restricted covenant for their property which would prohibit the garage from being used as a dwelling unit in the future. The proposed garage will have brick veneer and fiber cement siding as exterior materials and a gable roof with dormers on the north and south sides. The garage doors will face the alley and be set back 10 feet off the alley as required by the zoning ordinance. Elevations, floor plans, and plat of survey are attached. Property owners must also obtain a certificate of appropriateness from the Joliet Historic Preservation Commission for the garage construction due to the property being in the Upper Bluff Local Historic District. The material, style, and design of the garage, as shown on the attached elevations, will be evaluated as part of this process. Under conditions, if the zoning board desires to approve these variations, requested that the construction, the following conditions would be included. 1, that the building permit shall not be issued till the property owners submit evidence that the restricted covenant, which states that the detached garage shall not be used as a separate dwelling unit, has been recorded. 2, that the property shall not be utilized with 2 dwelling units. And 3, that the use of the property shall not be expanded in the future. And that concludes our staff report.
The petitioner can come up to the podium. I'm going to swear you in. Do you swear this statement to be true?
I do.
Please state your name and address for the record.
Bob Dietrich, 610 Western Avenue.
Do you have any questions or comments for the board?
I don't. The report was accurate.
Is anyone here to speak in favor? Is anyone opposed? We'll close it and ask for a motion.
I move we approve. Second.
Please call the roll.
Mr. Bias?
Here. Present. Here.
Mr. Alessio?
Aye.
Mr. Noctree?
Aye.
Mr. Riggs?
Aye. You're
The
done.
Thank
petition
you.
was approved. Next would be 2024-24. The petitioner owner is Rigoberto Maldonado. Is the petitioner here for 207 Davis? Request is a series of variations. The purpose, the petitioner is requesting a series of variations to reduce the side yard setback from 6 feet to 4.78 feet and reduce the sum of side yard setback from 15 feet to 9.68 feet. The variations are needed to accommodate a recently completed 9-foot by 20-foot home addition that encroaches upon the required side yard setback. Under site-specific information, the subject home was built before the existing R2 zoning district was enacted in '71. With the addition, the home is approximately 1,131 square feet in size and is under the required 30% lot coverage maximum for section 4717.29 of the city's zoning ordinance. 9-foot by 20-foot home addition squares off the northwest corner of the building. The addition reduced the west side setback distance from just over 5 feet to 4.9 feet. Surrounding zoning, land use, and character. The subject property is located on the city's south side, south of Interstate 80 and west of Route 53. Property is surrounded by R2 zoning on all sides, and the immediate neighborhood predominantly contains post-World War II era homes that had been built on smaller lots. The subject property's lot area is only approximately 5,160 square feet, while the minimum lot area in an R2 zone is 7,500 square feet. A similar disparity in actual lot area versus the underlying zoning minimum lot area can be found throughout the neighborhood. Under applicable regulations, we have section 47-6.4 yard and lot requirements, R2 single-family residential zoning district, 47-3.3 basic structural terms, building, 4717.29 percentage of ground cover, 47-19.8 criteria for granting a variation, and you could refer to the attachment for that. Under discussion, the subject property is located in R2 single-family zoning district and contains a required side yard setback distance of 6 feet for a single-story home. While the addition creates a side yard setback distance of 4.9 feet, a pre-existing setback distance of 4.78 feet can be found on the building's east side. The R2 zoning district also contains a minimum sum of side yard setback distance to both side yard lot lines of 15 feet. With the recently completed home addition, the current sum of side yard setback distance is approximately 9.68 feet, thereby necessitating a variation to approve the sum of side yard setback reduction from 15 feet. Required variations are needed for the subject home to maintain the recently completed addition. With the addition, the subject property is still under the required lot coverage maximum per the city zoning ordinance due to an abundance of non-conforming lot sizes and setback distances. It is not uncommon for properties in the surrounding area to feature shorter setbacks. Under conditions, if the zoning board of appeals desires to approve the requested variations, the following conditions would be included. 1, that all necessary building permits shall be approved before the requested variations are granted. And that concludes our staff report.
The petitioner can come up to the board. Will all three of you be speaking?
I don't believe so, but I brought the homeowner and the homeowner's son to translate the case.
Okay, I'll need to swear you in. Do you swear your statement to be true?
Yes.
Please state your name and address for the record.
Michael Angelieri, 8709 Lake Ridge Drive in Darien. The property address in question is 207 Davis Drive in Joliet.
Do you have any questions or comments for the board?
I just wanted to ask if we could address one thing. Under the comments section, I've been helping Mr. Maldonado to try to do a real estate closing, and I've been speaking with Kevin in the department where we're working on permits after the fact. And Kevin suggested I come here to get the variance because we have about a handful of permits that we need, and we have some of them but not all of them. but he sort of put us on hold to come here in order to get the variance approved, and then he said after that, then he would work with us to finalize the final permits. So I just wanted to address that in the comments, because if we can't do the variance, it's sort of the chicken and the egg. I don't know which to do first, but we came here specifically because for the permits, they said we needed the variance first. So I'm just needed some direction on that.
Jim, do you have any?
I don't think permits were originally taken out and some of the work was done. So then they put a hold on them to get this variance. Once this variance is approved, then they could continue with their building permitting process.
Okay. Is that the only comment you need to make?
It was, yes.
Okay. Is there anyone that's in favor of this? Anyone opposed? You want to come up to the board? Please come to the mic. I'll have to swear you in. Do you swear your statements to be true?
Yes.
Please state your name and address for the record.
Terrell Willis, 208 Davis Street.
And, go ahead. What,
Oh, I'm just trying to comprehend this. You say they
I got to speak up,
you
man.
gotta speak into the mic.
Speak into the mic.
Sorry. I heard you say they added on to the house. Is that what? House never been added on to. They remodeled the inside. But the house is still the same square
Get
feet.
speak into the mic, sir.
And I just want to get the correct information on how big the addition going to be.
It's been done already. They squared off the back of the house. If you
Yes,
look,
sir, I understand what you're saying, but it's never been an addition on the house. They just remodeled the outside and inside.
They're
Nothing been
looking
added
for a
on.
variance so that they can complete this. And do you have an exact size?
9 by 20, I believe it is, but it is already there. The structure
Okay.
is not going to change. What is existing currently, it's not changing.
How you gonna add on if it doesn't change?
Right, I think that we already addressed, it was squared off in the back, so maybe it's possible you can't see it from the front of your house.
I live right across the street. I see it all the time. That's all I'm asking.
Okay,
And are they selling it? Are they gonna rent it out? I like to know that there's single family homes down there. So
do you know if you'll be selling that afterwards or renting it out?
you be trying to sell
Where do you live in relation to the building?
me?
Across the street?
I live across the street.
How long have you built there?
50 years.
How long have they been there?
Just put in. Not a year, maybe. He can tell you more. Maybe a year.
I think it was purchased with, the property was purchased with the understanding to rehab it and sell it. This is not owner occupied by you guys, correct?
No.
It was not owner occupied, and you was happy with it being non-owner occupied before? The other guy?
Pardon? Me, oh, him?
Am I happy to what now?
You was happy with it being non-owner occupied before? Now they want to
No,
fix it, and you got a
of course
problem with
not.
that?
But they had it for sale for over a year and didn't sell it. Now they want to add on. I just want to know why add additional. What they going to?
Well, it's gonna say a
Is there going to be
single,
more people in the house?
it will say a single family home. They're planning on rehabbing it, making it better so that they could sell it.
Oh, that's what they do.
That's what they're doing.
Well, I don't agree with you.
You wanted it to say a blighted
No, the
house?
house looks nice. They did a good job on it. They should have sold it just like that instead of adding on.
So the house as it sits in this picture, we're not adding anything to that.
But I thought we was here because you're adding on.
it was added on already.
No, it hasn't, sir. It's been like that for 100 years. Same size. They remodeled the outside and inside.
Did your
They didn't add on to
client-
anything.
The information we got from our building department was there was a 9 by 20 foot addition done in the back and had to be a variance because of it.
So they're bringing it up to date, basically. They know that it was like that in the past, but it wasn't right by the record in the past. So they're correcting it to get the approval
So
so
if
that
you're-
they can sell it.
If you're fine with this existing house, nothing is changing
Right.
from this existing house.
So what's the add-on here?
It was added on to already, and now they're just correcting it because they didn't do it, they didn't take this
I
step
understand what
first.
you're saying, sir, but it's never been added on. It's the same house when he bought it, same square feet. This house haven't been added on in years.
Well, nothing is gonna change.
Nothing is gonna,
Wow. Well, what's the addition they talking about? That'll change it.
So many years ago, it was evidently done.
understand that.
So by the
I moved houses
paperwork,
down there.
they're putting it in order so that they are able to sell it as the way it is. So the addition would have been done years ago.
You're still not making sense, but I guess your mind is made up already. Thank you.
Okay, is there anyone else opposing of it? If not, I'll close the petition. Is there any questions for the board?
no.
Then we'll further to the motion.
I'd like to make a motion that it be accepted.
Second.
Motion, second made. Call the roll.
Mr. Alessio?
Aye.
Mr. Noctre?
Aye.
Mr. Bias?
Aye.
Mr. Riggs?
Aye.
So that petition was approved. So you could continue with your, getting your building permits and
Will do, thank you.
getting that approved.
We'll work on that starting tomorrow. Thanks, Council.
Next petition is 2024-25. The applicant is Glenda McCullum. The owner is Ecclesia Worship Embassy. Location is 1110 Curtis Avenue. Request is variation. Under purpose, the petitioner is requesting a variation on signage to allow an illuminated wall sign for a church within the R2 single-family residential zoning district. Per Exhibit A in Section 47-17.21, signs of the zoning ordinance, illuminated signs are not permitted within the R2 district. Zoning Board of Appeals makes the final decision on this variation request. Under site-specific information, subject site is approximately 83,500 square feet and contains two buildings on the north half of the site. Ecclesia Worship Embassy occupies the northmost building facing Curtis Avenue, which was built as a church in the 1960s. Building's main entrance is at the northwest corner of the building. There is a parking lot with access off Curtis Avenue on the east side of the building, as well as parking directly in front of the building on Curtis Avenue. Church has one existing non-illuminated V-shaped ground sign in the front yard that is approximately 15 square feet on each side. Petitioner is requesting to install a 20-foot illuminated wall sign on the north wall of the building. The building is set back approximately 40 feet from the front property line and is approximately 106 feet from the residential lot to the north across Curtis Avenue. Additionally, the building is approximately 45 feet from the property line of the residential lot to the east and approximately 90 feet from the property line of the residential lot to the west. Surrounding zoning land use and character, the property is located in a residential neighborhood on the south side of Curtis Avenue between Hosmer Street and Bury Street. Property is surrounded on all sides by residents with R2 zoning. Under applicable regulations, section 47-17.21 signs and 47-17.213BB criteria for granting a sign variation, and you could refer to the attachment. Under discussion, approval of the requested variation will allow an illuminated wall sign in a church located in a residential zoning district. The illuminated sign would help identify the church for members and visitors. The proposed sign features 1-foot-high letters that would be located on the main face of the building, which is approximately 40 feet from the front property line. Sign meets the area and height requirements for a wall sign in the R2 district. Building at 1110 Curtis Avenue has been used as a church since it was built in the 1960s, around the same time as the residential lots to the east were developed. Two houses directly across Curtis Avenue from the church were built in 2015 and 2018. Proposed sign would be located a reasonable distance from the houses to the north, as well as from the adjacent residential properties to the east and west. Under conditions, we have none, and that concludes our staff report.
Petitioner can come up to the mic. I'm going to swear you in. Do you swear your statement to be true?
Yes.
Please state your name and address for the record.
Glenda McCullum, 2110 Providence Way, Joliet, Illinois, 60431.
Do you have any questions or comments for the board?
I would like to comment. First of all, I'd like to thank you for the opportunity for us to present our request for channel lettering on our church building to help identify who we are and where we are. I would like to add that the lettering is muted lettering, and it would be equivalent more or less to like porch light, giving a porch light effect. And also the current sign that's the V-shaped sign is illuminated in the sense that it does have the floodlights that are illuminating it at night. These letters would give less illumination than the typical decorations that individuals put out at Halloween and at Christmas time. And it will work with the cohesiveness of the neighborhood and in no way will diminish the property values. The lettering would not be visible to the neighbors that are neighboring us on the east and the west side of the property, and the neighbors in the front of us, we have a very good rapport with them, and we have spoken with some of those neighbors, and they are definitely in favor of the sign going up. So we would more than appreciate a favorable outcome and giving us the permit to be able to provide the visibility that's necessary for the lettering on the building. Thank you.
Does anyone wish to speak in favor of the petition? Please come up. I must swear you in. Do you swear the statement to be true?
Yes.
Please state your name and
My name-
address for the record.
My name is Nona Parker. My address is 1923 Heather Lane, Joliet. As Dr. Glenda has
Excuse me,
said-
could you get in front of the
Speak
mic,
into the
please?
mic.
So sorry.
please.
As Dr. Glenda has said, one of the reasons that we do not use those spotlights on that V-shaped sign is because it's so bright. So we don't use that illumination. They are pretty bright spots, and we don't want to in any way hinder or cause any issues for our neighbors. The lights that are going up, those illuminated lights, again, they're muted. They're very pretty, and they're muted, and so they're not a bright glare in anyone's eyes. And so I just wanted to add that as well. That's all I needed to say.
Thank you.
Has anyone complained about the lights presently?
We don't use them, so there would be no complaint, simply because we've chosen not to use them. They're very bright, so we have chosen not to turn them on.
That entire V-shaped sign is staying, or is it coming down?
It's going to stay for now, but we don't light it. And so the problem is, and we do have events in the evening, and sometimes you just can't see the building. You don't know what's there, because even though it's a white light, it's a white sign, there's no lights to indicate or lettering to indicate that it's us. And so this is one of the reasons why we opted for the more muted letters on the building, opposed to turning those bright spots on the existing sign.
How long have you been in this location?
We've been in this location since 2010.
2010?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Okay, anyone else wish to speak in favor? Is there anyone wish to speak in opposition of this? If not, then I will close the petition. Is there any other questions for the board?
I'd like to make a motion that should be accepted.
I second it.
Motion and second made. Secretary, please call the roll.
Mr. Noctree?
Aye.
Mr. Bias?
Aye.
Mr. Alessio?
Aye.
Mr. Riggs?
Aye.
Thank you so much.
Petition was
Thank you.
approved. Next is 2024-26. The petitioner is Karen Dodge. Property owner is Cathedral of St. Raymond, Diocese of Joliet. Location is 604 North Rayner Avenue. Request is a series of variations. Under purpose, the petitioner is requesting a series of variations to allow an illuminated ground sign for a church in the R4 low-density multifamily residential zoning district at 604 North Rayner Avenue under Section 47-17.21, Exhibit A of the City Zoning Ordinance. Only allows a total sign area of 20 square feet per non-residential use in the R4 zoning district. The ordinance also does not allow illuminated signs in the R4 zoning district. Petitioner is requesting variations to allow an illuminated ground sign that contains a total sign area of 49.5 square feet. Under site-specific information, subject property is the site of the Cathedral of St. Raymond, Nonatus. I'm sorry about that. The proposed sign would replace an existing non-digital sign located at the corner of North Rainer Avenue and Douglas Street. The proposed sign would be located in the middle of the block along the east side of Rainer Avenue between Douglas Street to the south and Mason Avenue to the north. The sign would be offset 10 feet from the western property line. This is the minimum required setback distance for a monument ground sign. Under surrounding zoning land use and character, to the north is R2 parking lot. To the south is R2 single-family residential. To the east is R3 church. To the west is R2 and R4 single-family and multifamily residential. Under applicable regulations, 47-17.2 on signs and 47-17.2 on 3BB, criteria for granting a sign variation, and you could refer to the attachment for that. Under discussion, approval of the requested variations would allow an illuminated ground sign with a total sign area of 49.5 square feet, with 32 square feet dedicated to an EMC sign. Since the EMC sign is less than 50 square feet in size, it does not require a special use permit. If built, the sign would need to comply with additional standards for EMC signs that are detailed in the city's zoning ordinance. The sign as proposed would be well outside any applicable on-site visibility triangles. With these provisions in place, staff does not believe the sign as proposed would be detrimental to the use, orderly development, and enjoyment of other property in the immediate vicinity. Staff further believes that approval of the requested variations would not be contrary to the objective of improving the overall appearance of the city, as the sign would be an overall aesthetic improvement to the property. Signage that is comparable in scale with an EMC component can be found at similar uses throughout the city. Under conditions, we have none, and that concludes our staff report.
Petitioner can come up to the podium. Do you swear your statement to be true?
I do.
Please state your name and address for the record.
Karen Dodge, 325 Sand Pebble Lane in Aurora.
And do you have any questions or comments for the board?
I do not.
Does anyone here wish to speak in favor of the petition? Is there anyone to oppose the?
There's one guy there.
Oh, he's behind you. I'm gonna swear again. Do you swear your statement to be true?
I do.
And please state your name for the record.
Barry McHugh, 808 Mason Avenue, Joliet. Here representing Cathedral Area Preservation Association. The church asked us to take a look. We took a look at the sign. We feel, as the city wrote down in the petition, that it is not detrimental to the neighborhood. I've talked to a few neighbors and directly across, and I live virtually directly across from the church. I see no objections or problems that this thing can do. It'll probably enhance it'll enhance the use of the church. I know I hear the bells ringing, see crowds. I have no idea what's going on. The sign will make it very simple for me. So we support the church in installation of this sign, and we see no difficulties with it.
Okay. Is there anyone else to speak in favor? Is there anyone wish to speak in opposition of the petition? If not, I'll close the petition.
Before we go any further, I have to say that I am a deacon for the Catholic Church. September will be my 27th year. I don't know, can I vote on this?
I think so.
Can
Yeah,
I?
I don't.
Okay. Just want to let that know for the record.
Okay, any other questions or from the board? Okay, then
I move we approve.
Second?
go ahead and call the board.
Mr. Bias?
Aye.
Mr. Alessio?
Aye.
Mr. Noctree?
Aye.
Mr. Riggs?
Aye.
Thank you very much.
The petition was approved. Next would be 2024-27. The applicant is Emily Brzezicki. The owner is Eric Rubenstein. Location is 118 North Ottawa Street. Request is a special use permit. Under purpose, the applicant is requesting a special use permit to allow an antique store located at 118 North Ottawa Street. City Council makes a final decision on the special use permit request upon the recommendation of the Zoning Board of Appeals. Under site-specific information, the 4-story brick building sits at the southeast corner of Ottawa and Clinton Streets on a 1/4 acre lot. The circa 1909 mixed-use building was built by Hobbs family, who ran the Hobbs Hotel for many years, after which it became known as the Hotel Plaza. Proposed business will occupy one tenant space in this building at 118 North Ottawa Street. The tenant space has 420 square feet of leasable space. Under surrounding zoning, land use, and character, the property, as well as all properties in the general vicinity, are zoned B2 Central Business District. This is a mixed-use building that is surrounded by mixed uses that include retail, office, food and beverage services, banking, and residential. Under applicable regulations, Section 47-12.2A, special uses, B2 Central Business District, and 47-5.2C, special use permit criteria. Under discussion, Emily Brzezicki, owner of Black Cat Curiosities, seeks to open an antique store in this tenant space. City requires a special use permit for businesses where most of the merchandise is secondhand. She has been selling antiques and vintage items for the last 4 years through online sales and through markets and niche events. She also sells items at the Internode, which is a plant and home goods store located at 81 North Chicago Street. She intends to be open Tuesday through Thursday from 11 to 5, Fridays from 11 to 8, and Saturdays from 10 to 3. She will also offer flexible hours to accommodate special events in the downtown. She initially plans to hire one additional employee. Under the conditions, if zoning board desires to recommend approval of this special use permit, following conditions would be included. One, that the special use granted shall herein terminate and lapse unless a building permit or a certificate of occupancy is obtained no later than 180 days. 2, should the property be declared a public nuisance, it shall be subject to a rehearing and a possible revocation of the special use permit. And that concludes our staff report.
Is petitioner present? Please come up to the podium. Do you swear your statement to be true?
I do.
Please state your name and address for the record.
Emily Brzezicki, and this address or my home address?
Either address is fine.
I live at 613 Buell.
Okay. Do you have any questions or comments for the board?
Comments I do have. I would just like you all to know that this is something I've been working on actively for over 5 years. It's been a dream of mine since I've been a kid. And in no way, shape, or form is this going to resemble a nuisance. I have a very niche aesthetic that I'm going for. I deal with a lot of Victorian and Gothic antiques. I really want you to open the doors and feel like you stepped into a cozy little shop that could be in 19th century London, just as much as it could be in downtown Joliet. I'm very committed to this vision, and I don't know, no one would be more upset with issues with it than I would. So I think any issues the city has had in the past with these types of stores is, again, 1000% say will not apply to me. And I'm just really happy to be here.
Okay, does anyone wish to speak in favor of this petition? Does anyone wish to speak in opposition of this petition? If not, I'll close the petition. Is there any questions for the board?
How many square feet are you asking for?
It's 420 approximately.
Is the restaurant still on the end of you?
The restaurant is closed.
It's closed.
I believe it's up for lease, but I think they're working on it first.
The upstairs hotel, is it still in operation?
I think it's apartment buildings, but I'm not 100% sure. There are people that go up there, but I believe it's apartments.
Okay.
Okay, if there's no other questions, we'll propose a motion.
I'd like to make a motion that it be accepted.
I second it.
Secretary, please call the board.
Mr. Alessio?
Aye.
Mr. Noctry?
Aye.
Mr. Bias?
Aye.
Mr. Riggs?
Aye.
And this should go to City Council July 15th and 16th with the recommendation for approval.
Thank you.
Good luck.
Next is 2024-28. The applicant is Edvardis Kozlowskis. Status of the applicant is a tenant. The owner is Total Investment Group LLC. The location is 804 East Cass Street. Request is a special use permit. Under purpose, the applicant is requesting a special use permit to allow a truck and trailer repair facility at 804 East Cass Street. Per the City of Joliet zoning ordinance, automotive repair facilities may be allowed as special uses in the I-1 district by the mayor and city council with the advice of the zoning board of appeals in accordance with section 47.5.2. Site-specific information on the subject property is approximately 1.6 acres and contains a brick industrial building built in the 20s or 30s, made up of two separate structures that are connected on the north end. Property is zoned I-1 light industrial. The proposed repair business, EMT Truck Repair, occupies the 11,000 square foot western structure at 804 East Cass Street. Eastern structure at 111 and 113 Bissell Street is occupied by a tire repair facility, Chronos Tire Shop, and one other tenant. Chronos receives approval of a special use permit for a tire facility in 2012. Their shop has dedicated parking on the east side of the building along Bissell Street. There is an asphalt parking area on the south side of the building with access off Bissell Street. Petitioner estimates that the parking lot can fit around 15 trucks with trailers and 6 passenger vehicles. The two tenants in the eastern building use only 3 trailer parking spaces within the on-site parking lot. EMT Truck Repair has been at this location for approximately 3 years. Prior to that, 804 East Cass Street was occupied by Jason Mechanical Corporation, a mechanical systems contractor, for around 20 years. Historically, the site contained manufacturing uses since its initial development through the 1980s. Surrounding zoning, land use, and character, the property is located at the southwest corner of Cass Street and Bissell Street. All surrounding properties are zoned I-1 light industrial. Surrounding uses are commercial or industrial in nature and include a used car dealership, a cell tower, an appliance resale store, a contractor yard, and a vacant industrial building. Under applicable regulations, section 47-14.3D, B3 uses within the I-1 district, 47-13.2AG, special uses, B3 general business district, 47-5.2C, criteria for issuance of a special use permit, and you can refer to the attachment. Under discussion, the petitioner is requesting approval of a special use permit to allow a truck and trailer repair facility for EMT Truck Repair within an existing industrial building at 804 East Cass Street. EMT Truck Repair is a public garage that performs general repair and maintenance on semi-trucks and trailers. Business contracts with approximately 4 regional trucking companies to perform repair services on their fleets. Business does not currently accept walk-in customers. Hours of operations are Monday through Friday, 8 to 5 p.m. The business has 3 employees. The business is located in an existing industrial building with approximately 11,000 square feet of interior space. Most of the interior is used for a repair shop, with office space on the north end. Vehicle entrance is located on the south side of the building off the parking lot. The petitioner estimates that around 15 trucks with trailers and 6 passenger cars can be accommodated in the existing parking lot. Trucking companies served by EMT drop off and pick up their trucks from the site's parking area. A site plan and floor plan are attached. EMT Truck Repair has been at this location for around 3 years. The owners were recently notified by the city's Business Services Division that they would need a business license with the city as well as a special use permit to operate a repair facility. As part of the business license approval, the building will be inspected for compliance with building codes related to vehicle repair facilities. As a condition of the special use permit, the parking lot will need to be repaired where needed. Under conditions, if the zoning board desires to approve the special use permit, the following conditions would be included. 1, that the parking lot shall be repaired as needed. 2, that a city business license shall be obtained. 3, that the special use granted shall herein terminate and lapse unless a certificate of occupancy or permit is obtained within 180 days. And last, should the property be declared a public nuisance, it should be subject to a rehearing and a possible revocation of the special use permit. And that concludes our staff report.
Is petitioner present? Do you swear your statement to be true?
Yes.
Please state your name and address for the record.
Edvardis Kozlauskas, 804 East Cass Street, Joliet, Illinois.
Do you have any questions or comments for the board?
Just wanted to change that it is not open to the public anymore.
Okay. Does anyone here wish to speak in favor of the petition? Is there anyone opposed? Please come up. I must swear you in. Do you swear your statement to be true?
I do.
Please state your name and address for the record.
My name is Sandy Captain, and I represent the building across the street on Bissell Street, 108 Bissell Street. And there is so much truck traffic there, and the trucks are tearing up the roads, and I'm concerned about the additional traffic on Cass Street, which is mostly pedestrian or small vehicles. And just even getting here this afternoon, Cass Street is like a parking lot for a mile, and additional traffic and truck traffic could be dangerous. But mostly the trucks are tearing up the road. They park right in front of our building. We can't. My dad is 87, and I need to pull up to the door to get him into the door, and I have to run around figuring out whose truck is in the way. So I would like there to be a review on the impact of traffic and the impact on the damage to the roads. There are huge divots in front of our building from these semi-trucks pulling over, and in the spring it's just a big puddle of mud, and I can't drive my car up to my dad's building.
Have you made any complaints to the city for the road or anything?
This belongs to my family. My dad could not make it today. I'm not sure what letters of complaints they have written or proposed.
Okay, petitioner, have you got any comments to address her complaints?
What is your building?
Bissell Street right here. And there used to be a street sign over here, and that's been plowed over. There's no street sign anymore, so people can't find our building.
Okay, the fleets that come to our location, they do not go where her building is. I know that there is another trailer repair shop that passes her building.
Are you going in and out here?
Yes.
So you are damaging and parking in and around. Trucks are coming in here and turning around on our property and tearing up the grass.
I just want to comment that
It's another truck repair that
the vehicles that go to my shop, I can't comment on if they're tearing up the roads or not, but there's no way for them to, with the trailer, to go past your building and to turn around. All of the drivers, they know that they are instantly supposed to turn on that street.
Is there a way for me to submit photographs? Because it's all gouged out here and it's all gouged out here. But mostly it's the additional traffic along Cass Street that I think is going to be a problem.
Ma'am, as far as any of those complaints, you can make a complaint to the city as far as on the road that's messed up or the sign that's out if it's a city sign. As far as the traffic is gonna be there whether he's there or not. There was another trucking company prior to him there.
There is, but the additional traffic is going to make an impact.
Okay. Is there anyone else opposing this? If not, then we'll move on. And is there any questions from the board? If not, we'll need a motion.
I motion to approve.
We got a second on the motion?
I second it.
We got a motion and a second to approve. Call the board.
Mr. Noctre,
Aye.
Mr. Bias,
Aye.
Mr. Alessio,
Aye.
Mr. Riggs.
Aye.
So this will go to city council, should continue to July 15th, 16th, city council. So just so you're aware, with the recommendation for approval.
You're done.
Young man, just between you and I, if you're having a problem with him, I maybe need to speak with her, make certain before you go to the council that you address whatever issues she might have.
Thank you.
Next is petition number 2024-30. I'm sorry, 2024-29, 1619 East Cass Street. If anybody's here for that, that was withdrawn and will not be coming back. So if anybody's here for 2024-29, that was withdrawn by the applicant. Petition number 2024-30, the applicant is SBA Communications Corporation, Eric Greenfield. Status of the applicant is owner of Communications Tower. The owner is, the property is Joliet Park District. Location is 1300 North Kelly Avenue. And the request is an amendment to a special use permit. Under purpose, the applicant is requesting an amendment to a special use permit approved as ordinance number 16160 in 2008 to allow an existing stealth communication tower to be converted into a monopole tower. Per the City of Joliet zoning ordinance, communication towers may be allowed as special uses in the R2 single-family residential district by the mayor and city council with the advice of the Zoning Board of Appeals in accordance with section 47-5.2. Under site-specific information, the 7.8 acre subject site contains the Joliet Park District's Garnsey Park, which consists of a playground, baseball diamonds, and tennis courts. The 118-foot tall tower and related equipment shelter was approved by special use permit in 2008. Existing tower is located on the north side of the larger baseball field, approximately 400 feet from the west property line along Raider Avenue and 375 feet from the south property line adjacent to the northmost residence on Kelly Avenue. Tower is disguised as a light pole with park lighting mounted near the middle and the antenna hidden in the topmost part of the stealth tower. The ground equipment structure is fenced and screened by evergreen shrubs. Property is zoned R2 single-family residential. There is another communications tower on the site located on the east side of the baseball field that was approved by City Council in 2004. Surrounding zoning, land use, and character, the cell tower in question is located within Garnsey Park north of Curtis Avenue at Kelly Avenue in the Cunningham neighborhood. The zoning and land use for the properties adjacent to the overall park property are as follows. To the north is R2 Cemetery, to the south is R2 Residential, to the east is R3 1 and 2 Family Residential Cemetery, and to the west is R2, R3, and B1 Neighborhood Business, Residential, and Commercial. Under applicable regulations, section 47-5.2B10, special uses in the R1 district, and 47-5.2C, criteria for issuance of a special use permit, and you could refer to the attachment for that. Under discussion, the petitioner is requesting approval of an amendment to a special use permit, which allowed the installation of a 118-foot tall stealth telecommunications tower and associated ground equipment at the subject site. The amendment would allow a change in design from a stealth tower which conceals the antennas in the top of the pole, to a monopole tower, which will have visible antennas at the top, and you could see the attached tower elevations. The tower height and ground equipment shelter would remain the same. The proposed antenna modifications will increase wireless coverage for T-Mobile and potential future carriers, as the monopole style would allow multiple carriers to use the pole. Tower currently serves T-Mobile and is owned by SBA Monarch Towers. The Joliet Park District, which owns the park property, is not opposed to the change in design. In 2008, the petitioner was required to post a $35,000 bond in the event that the tower was abandoned and needed to be removed. According to the petitioner, this bond is still in effect. Under conditions, if the zoning board desires to approve the amendment to the special use permit to allow the tower, the following conditions would be included. That one, that the petitioner shall maintain the existing $35,000 bond, which would be used for dismantling the tower and associated equipment in the event of future abandonment. And that concludes our staff report.
Petitioner present? Do you swear your statement to be true?
I do.
Please state your name and address for the record.
Eric Greenfield with SBA Communications, 1127 North Lawn Street, Grand Rapids, Michigan.
Do you have any questions or comments for the board?
No, I'll wait to see what questions that you might have for me.
Okay. Is anyone here to wish to speak in favor of the petition? Is there anyone to oppose? Is there any questions for the board?
No, I think it's self-explanatory for me.
Close the petition. Is there a motion?
Motion to accept.
Second.
Motion and second approved. Call the
Mr.
roll.
Bias?
Aye.
Mr. Alessio?
Aye.
Mr. Noctre?
Aye.
Mr. Riggs?
Aye.
Thank you.
So that will go to City Council also July 15th, 16th, with recommendation for approval. Petition number 2024-31 and 2024-32 is the next petitions. The applicant is Zanjia Zhang. Status of the applicant is business owner, proposed tenant. Property owner is Namdar Realty Group. Location is 3340 Mall Loop Drive. The request is a variation of use and a special use permit. Under purpose, the applicant is requesting a special use permit to allow a massage therapy business within a tenant space in the Louis Joliet Mall. The applicant is also requesting a variation of use to allow a B3 use within the B2 district. Per the City of Joliet zoning ordinance, massage businesses may be allowed as special uses in the B3 zoning district by the mayor and city council with the advice of the Zoning Board of Appeals in accordance with section 47-5.2. Excuse me. Under site-specific information, the tenant space for the proposed business is within Louis Joliet Mall, which encompasses approximately 66 acres for the mall building and surrounding parking lots. Mall contains approximately 320,000 square feet of leasable area, excluding the 4 anchor spaces, with around 80 businesses currently in operation within the mall. Tenant space in question is 1,260 square feet, located on the south side of the mall near the exterior entrance, just west of the former Sears location. Entry to the tenant space is within the mall. There is no separate exterior entrance. Mall building and parking areas are zoned B2 central business. Under surrounding zoning, land use, and character, the tenant space is located within Louis Joliet Mall, which is surrounded by other commercial properties with B2 zoning. Under applicable regulations, section 47-3.2AH, special uses, B3 district, 47.5.2C, criteria for issuance of a special use permit, where you could refer to the attachment, 47-17.28, variation of use, and that section is below for further review. Under discussion, the petitioner and business owner, Zanjia Zhang, is requesting approval of a special use permit, corresponding variation of use to allow a massage therapy business, relax the body within a tenant space in the Louis Joliet Mall. Petitioner has had an active massage therapy license from the state of Illinois since 2013 and has previously worked as a massage therapist. Petitioner would be the only licensed massage therapist on staff initially, but they might hire up to 3 additional massage therapists in the future. Petitioner has already completed the background check as part of their city business license application. Any additional massage therapists would need to complete the background check and provide proof of their state license to the city's business services division before they could be employed with this business. Attendance space would be laid out to contain 3 massage tables, 3 foot massage tables, and 3 massage chairs. Proposed hours of operations are the same as the mall hours, which are Monday through Thursday, 11 to 7, Friday and Saturday, 10 to 8, and Sunday, 11 to 6. A floor plan and business license application are attached. Mall contains a variety of stores and businesses, including clothing stores, restaurants, and service businesses, such as a nail salon and hair salon. The massage therapy business will not be harmful to or impede the use and development of other businesses and operations within or surrounding the mall. The tenant space is adequately sized for the proposed business. The mall has ample parking and existing building ingress and egress that will serve the proposed business. Under conditions, if the zoning board desires to approve the variation of use and special use permit, the following conditions would be included. 1, that the business license shall be obtained to the special use 180-day clause. And lastly, should the property be declared a public nuisance, it shall be subject to a rehearing and a possible revocation of the special use permit. And that concludes our staff report.
Is petitioner present? Please come up to the podium. Okay, are both of you going to be speaking? Okay, you need to raise your hand. Do you swear your statements to be true?
Yes, I do.
Please state your name and and address for the record.
My name is Chris. The address is 340 Model Drive, and I am translating for my mother that is opening the store.
Okay, do you have any questions or comments for the board?
No.
Okay, is there anyone here to speak in favor of this petition? Is there anyone to oppose it? I guess I'll close this petition and ask if there's any questions from the board.
How long have you been in this business?
They've been massaging since 2013.
2015?
Yeah.
Is it an individual store or are you linked to a chain?
It was in malls before as well.
Say again.
They worked in malls before as well.
In a mall before?
Yep.
Yeah. It's just an individual store?
Yes.
Okay.
Any other questions?
No, I didn't.
Is there a motion?
I'd like to make the
Go ahead, Ralph.
I'd like to make the motion that should be accepted.
I'll second it.
Motion and second approved. Please call the roll.
Mr. Alessio?
Aye.
Mr. Noctre?
Aye.
Mr. Bias?
Aye.
Mr. Riggs?
Aye.
So that will go for a recommendation of approval, should be again for July 15th and 16th to City Council.
Is there anyone here for 4626 Williamson Avenue?
Whose case is the massage therapy?
You folks are,
They seem confused.
your petition's been approved. Thank you, guys.
Okay. Jem, she's here for,
Okay.
This is the one that we missed before?
yes. 2024-22.
The applicant owner is Gloria Rodriguez. The location is 626 Williamson Avenue. The request is variation. Purpose, the applicant, I'm sorry, I read this already. Do you want me to read it again, or
I
are
don't
you
think
comfortable
we need
with
it
it being read once?
I'm
So
sure
this
they're
is to
familiar with
reduce
it.
front yard setback from 30 feet to 9.7 feet for a covered porch.
Okay, we need to swear you in, ma'am. Do you swear your statement to be true?
Yes.
Please state your name and address for the record.
Gloria Rodriguez, 626 Williamson Avenue, Joliet, Illinois, 60432.
Okay, do you have any questions or comments for the board?
No, sir.
Is there anyone here to speak in favor of the petition? Is there anyone here to oppose? We'll also close this one and ask if there's any questions for the board.
I move we approve.
Second.
Move to approve and approve, second. Amanda Dunn,
I think Ralph.
please call the board.
Mr. Bias?
Aye.
Mr. Alessio?
Aye.
Mr. Noctre?
Aye.
Mr. Riggs?
Aye.
So that petition was approved. Moving on through our agenda, next would be old new business, not for final action or recommendation. We have none. Next would be public comments. Anybody wanting to speak on a non-agenda item can do for 4 minutes. Would anybody like to speak on a non-agenda item? Seeing none, I would just like to add, before we close, thoughts and prayers are with Ed Hennessy. He's out of the hospital today and doing okay. Probably some rehab is necessary, but doing okay. So thoughts and prayers for Chairman Ed Hennessy. And with that, if you would like, we could adjourn.
Make a motion to adjourn. Please approve by saying aye.
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 Aye. You too.